We are live now.
Hello. Good morning, everybody. I am DS Rajora, Assistant Secretary General from ASSOCHAM. On behalf of ASSOCHAM, I have a great pleasure in welcoming all our guests and participants. On behalf of ASSOCHAM, I also take this opportunity to congratulate the Ministry of Railways for their innovative, prompt and proactive initiative in responding to the critical needs of the country. We all have huge challenge before us to deal with urgent necessities related to both health and economy. Railways has taken a visionary leadership by changing its role from movement of passengers to help treating coronavirus patients. We have a strong panel from Railway Board led by Sri Arunendra Kumarji, former Chairman Railways, Sri Ghanshyam ji, former member Railway, Sri Bavri ji, Principal Chief Electrical Engineer from Central Railway. My special welcome to all of them. And with these words, I request Sri A.K. Agarwal, Senior Managing Committee Member, ASSOCHAM, to kindly formally welcome our panelists and also moderate the session, please.
Good morning. Greetings to all of you. I hope I am audible. Sir, I am audible?
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. Because of restriction in the app, only 6 persons are in the panel. But I treat everybody who are registered participants in the panel also. So I must say, all 200 and above persons are in the panel. This is an interesting subject, but time is unfortunate. And this time is ferocious. I welcome Sri Arunendra Kumarji, former Chairman Railway Board. His achievements have been tremendous. The numbers which you see today in the traction vehicles and other infrastructure, he is the writer of these numbers. And now we are getting the fruits of that seed. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
I heartily welcome Sri Ghanshyam Singh ji. ये अतिशयोक्ति नहीं होगी यदि मैं कहूं कि he is the man of electrification in railway. In the olden times, the electrification was sometimes in 2 digits. Now in thousands and thousands of kilometers. Nobody could imagine at the time how it will be done, but he has done it. I welcome, sir. You are here.
Thank you.
Now I heartily welcome Sri S.P. Bavre ji. He is known for his innovative approach in managing the workshops, in managing the locomotive sheds, in managing the maintenance systems, in managing the rail operations. I think the rail as a factor is in blood. Everywhere rail in his body. Welcome, sir.
Yeah,
Welcome,
thanks
sir,
a lot.
Mr. Bavre.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
I welcome Mr. Manoj Kumar. He is from Hitachi, managing the large projects in metro and rail operations. A dedicated person, innovative person, charming person, as you can see from his face, always smiling and always result-oriented person. He takes care of the society also. Not only the profession, he is also in the social development. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rajora, he is behind SHM working day and night, sometimes at 11 o'clock in the night, sometimes 12 o'clock in the night. I think AM and PM does not matter for Mr. Rajora. I welcome Mr. Rajora ji. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
In the face of this stubborn virus, we all have been through turbulent times in which we all were subjected to severe hardships and stress in one way or the other, inflicting a scar on our psyches which will take a long time to heal. But I am sure happier times will be on us soon again. With our steely resilience and resolve, which is in the DNA of India, together we will definitely rebuild and reconstruct a new world. The virus is now an inextricable part of the body of our lives for some time to come, and we need to work around this. This is a grim reality, not a good thing, but it's a reality. However, with every crisis, there is hope for a solution. All power is within us. We can do anything and everything, as per Swami Vivekananda. The reservoir of hope has not dried up, and on the contrary, it is filled up to the brim, means up to the peak, and it will continue to remain so. Together, under inspiring leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji and strategic guidance of Honorable Railway Minister Piyush Goyal ji and Railway Management, we will again script a new growth history. I strongly believe that with the dark chapter of the Chinese virus, human nature conflict will be on the wane and human cohesiveness will be in the ascendant in future. People will follow, whether in public or private, more humanistic, that is delight-centric approach. Rather than donning the rough and tough exterior, even in managing vocations of various hues, people will be more sensitive towards nurturing humanity rather than hurting it. Why? Because we have seen the ultimate truth of life from very close quarters, with death looming over our heads every day and start staring us in the face. Newspaper and social media discussing the death score. It is unusual to discuss the death score. Cricket score we have heard, but death score on a daily basis is nothing less than scary and horrible for any human being. Indian Railways has been on forefront to combat the ill effect of corona or coronavirus. Without waiting a single moment under visionary leadership of Piyush Goyal ji, Indian Railway came on the border to fight Corona without any hitch. The railways generally earns its revenue from passenger and freight. There are two broad spectrum of earning, freight and passenger. But this COVID-19 crisis has brought another revenue, maybe earning through healthcare. Indian Railways can think to attach maybe one well-equipped medical coach along with each and every train, passenger train, or they can think to run a full-fledged special train for medical movement. In aerospace, medical tourism is a normal phenomena, of course upcoming phenomena, but in train operations, it can be the new one, but it is possible. I think even after this crisis is over, this healthcare dimension of the railways is here to stay and can be made a permanent feature. As the American politician once, the name Rahm Emanuel, he famously said, "You never let a serious crisis go to waste." And what I mean by that, it is an opportunity to do things you think you could not do before. But I do not want these kind of crisis again and again. This is highly unfortunate, ferocious, but this is the reality. So how to get rid of this and how to do or plan the things in future? The country will be paying a huge economic cost in the wake of coronavirus and the subsequent lockdown. But there was no escaping it. So the country had to take all those bitter and harsh steps for its own betterment. Indian Railways has always been on the forefront for better industrialization, for ancillarization, and for the upliftment of the society. With this, I welcome again the panelists. I welcome the registered participants and also those who have not registered themselves. With this, I request Mr. Manoj to give his address. Mr. Manoj, as I mentioned, he is a seasoned professional, very innovative person. He is with Hitachi at the moment. His achievements are tremendous. Mr. Manoj, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Yeah, thank you, Rail Council of ASSOCHAM, for having me in this webinar. Yeah, warm regards to the panelists and the participants. Trust you're all doing good and safe in these unusual times and are coping well. Today, we are in a situation where everyone is talking about fall in the economy. But I would say, if we all can survive another day, this virus, we can overcome this crisis and recover soon. Let us take a cue from Japan, who were devastated after the World War II. And today, we all know how they have bounced back. And that is an example for each and every country to follow, and especially a country like India, which is progressing. India today, under the able leadership and guidance of Honorable Prime Minister, have been able to keep the COVID outbreak at bay. A significant contribution and his innovative leadership from our Honorable Minister of Railways, Shri Piyush Goyal. Indian Railways played a major role in fighting the pandemic, has leveraged its resources and demonstrated the capability to manufacture PPE, ventilators, hospital beds, and COVID-19 isolation coaches. It has also used its outreach to distribute food and rations in far-flung regions. I suggest the crisis is a blessing in disguise for our country. Ministry of Indian Railways and Metro Rail urban authorities should take this opportunity of attracting the industrialists who are looking to shift from China to set up their manufacturing units in India. This is a big boost to the Make in India. India should be for global in future. The demand for rail and metro is going to be big in India. Every tier 2 cities are opting for rail and infrastructure upgradation and metro rail. We need to change our policies and capitalize the foreign companies coming to invest and set up manufacturing in India. So I once again thank Rail Council of India and its founder, Dr. A.K. Agarwalji, who started this chapter a decade ago, and it is today one of the best chambers in India. We at Hitachi Rail STS are proud to be associated with Indian Railways and Rail Council of ASSOCHAM. Thank you.
Thank you, Manoj ji. You mentioned about uprooting the industries from China. Some industries, of course, are uprooting their operations from China. You mentioned that we should have the conducive policies in India so that these investments can be attracted in India. Of
I
course,
wouldn't use the word uprooting, but yes,
yes,
there are a lot of companies who would like to walk out of China with the concerns and the policies and the situation. I think we should grab it with all the opportunities what we can.
I think Hitachi, they have also operations in China.
Yes, we have some manufacturing units, but we are planning to have that in shortly in India, and some progress is going on such things. And I think shortly we'll be closing our units in China.
Very good. I think you should speed up this operation because
Yes, yes,
so that you can become the example.
with all your support, I think I will, and we will make it possible.
Now I request Mr. S.P. Vavreji. I mentioned before, he is innovator in personality. By personality, he is innovator. Whatever he does, always some factor of innovation there. Mr. Vavre, please.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mr. Agarwal, for using those encomiums, which I do not know whether I deserve. But first of all, a warm morning to all. And I'm really thankful to this ASSOCHAM giving me this opportunity to speak to you. And I can see my respected railway seniors who were sort of motivating and guiding force behind my personality, the way I worked. They guided me. I can see respected Sri Arunendra Kumar. Very good morning, sir. Good morning to you. And of course, our member Traction, with whom I worked very closely till recently, Ghanshyam Singh, sir. Very good morning to you, sir. And
very good morning.
I need
Thank
not
you.
mention that whatever innovation you're talking about, if I talk about Mr. Ghanshyam Singh in the recent time, I think I stand nowhere. But nevertheless, it's really pleasure to talk to you all, interact rather. And of course, this webinar also is a new thing. This is the way we are changing now. You know, we are tuned to, or we are very much acquainted or accustomed to talk in person, face to face. But now this is going to be the way of life, I think so, for at least some time to come. Life was going very fast. We were just flying. We were talking about $1 trillion economy and all that. And suddenly there was a break applied by nature. I just can't resist but recite the couplet by a शायर. हसरतें कुछ और है, वक्त की इल्तिजा कुछ और है. कौन जी सका है जिंदगी अपने मुताबिक, दिल चाहता कुछ और है, होता कुछ और है. So we were moving fast, we were going ahead, and suddenly there was a break. But let me tell you, my esteemed seniors are here. Railway is a very, very resilient organization, and it is lifeline of the country, and it has risen to all the occasions. It has proved that it is flexible and it can take up the challenges and meet it. As Mr. Manoj Kumar also mentioned, and you also mentioned, we have been facing these challenges, running the trains in this situation, transporting the food grains, fertilizers, medical equipments, medical material to all parts of the countries. And that you can imagine that arranging the crew and maintenance staff and the checking staff for running train, there are so many departments which are involved to give them confidence that it is safe to work. Say, I will give you example. The crew changes in a freight train every 200 kilometers. Now the cab is occupied by the people whom we do not know. The crew doesn't know who is taking over, whether the person was infected or not, whether the pointsman who has brought the question order is infected or not. So in these challenges, we have been sanitizing the cabs. We have been providing with the sanitizers manufactured in-house. All our workshops have manufactured sanitizers, and not only that, as Mr. Manoj Kumar has mentioned, we have even manufactured PPEs in-house, which were in short supply. So what I'm trying to say, Railway is a very great organization, and I feel pride that I belong to this. Coming to the subject of the seminar, changing role of railways. See, basically the main role of railways, which is transportation, that is not going to change. But what is going to change is the way we transport, the way we are going to take up this business now, hereafter. See, for example, goods. If I talk about freight train, our experience in this COVID scenario is now we have to offer a complete package to the customer. We have been talking about door-to-door delivery. Now we have to implement it. We have to modify our goods shed. We have to modify our delivery system, and we have to ensure that there is man-to-man interaction is as less as possible. So that is the challenge here. Online booking, running of longer and heavier trains, that is the future of Indian Railways, and we are moving ahead towards that. Let me share the information with you that we are completely overhauling the timetable. The Mail Express passenger timetable is going to get completely overhauled. We are trying to make the speeds identical for freight trains and goods coaching trains, Mail Express and passenger, I mean, and provide a clear path so that we can run the timetable goods and freight trains and parcel trains. So this is going to happen. We are on the job, and shortly you will see that the complete timetable is overall. We are going towards a timetable which will also provide for the maintenance corridors, clear-cut maintenance corridors of 3 hours in each section. So with this, what I'm trying to say is this is the challenge and the COVID scenario which is going to continue for some more time, rather 8 years, I would say. So we have to change our system in transportation and also maintenance. I will come to that point later. Now, when I talk about the passengers, as Mr. Manoj, as Mr. Agarwal also has said, and Mr. Manoj, we have to think that the coach design, we have to modify it in a way that the social distancing is ensured, the screening of the passengers is ensured, and if there is a medical emergency, whether we can provide a facility with the guards in the guards SLR for providing some oxygen cylinders or masks, looking at the present scenario, some medical support for the passengers who are traveling with us. We have to look at the cleaning and onboard maintenance, housekeeping of the train. We have to change the system of serving passengers like linen, which is the main source, and the food. This is going to be a very great challenge, and we have to change a lot. How we are going to cater for this requirement, requirement of linen and food for the passengers on the train. Sanitization of the coaches. We have to design coaches and the material which we use for furnishing, that has to be easy for sanitization and cleaning. The way we are doing presently is not at all satisfactory, and we have to change it. At the station, when I look at it, we are thinking of complete access control and screening of the passenger. Everything online, right from the reservation to checking, reducing the man-to-man interaction. That is going to be the way we are going to change the way we transport our people. Now, when I see, if I come to my area of expertise, I am looking after electrical department, and if I see what changes can be there. So locos, if I talk about, then there is a scope, and we have to do something about cab improvement. Presently, the cab is very, very cramped. And if I think about a driver and assistant driver traveling in the cab and with some inspecting officials, so where is the chance of social distance? And there is no scope for proper sanitization. So cab design, I'm looking at that it is going to get modified. I request that the industry can support us with the compact design of all the assemblies and equipments which are provided in the coach and locos. There is a great scope available. The technology is changing, and there, if we think of that, then we can provide more space for the crew and make the cab comfortable. This is very important. Why I am saying so, because arranging the crew for transportation today, Bombay, as you know, is a very big hotspot. In COVID cases, if you see, we are leading in the country. We are sitting on a sort of, volcano. It is going to erupt. The way we are going to relax this lockdown a little bit, we have seen, and therefore arranging the crew and making them comfortable and confident that they can run the train is a great challenge. And therefore I look at the cab and other equipments which we provide in the locomotive. Coming then, next challenge in our working area is maintenance practices. We have to reduce the manpower required. We have to reduce the manpower required for each and every maintenance activity, in which I see if the equipments which are manufactured, if we can give the modular maintenance system or self-diagnostic in each of the assembly, so that the time taken and the manpower required for maintenance is less. For example, whatever traction converters we have, line converters we have, suppose they have self-diagnostic provided in the system, or maybe remote diagnostic by the OEM himself, who can guide event logging us there. So modular change is required. So now you don't need much manpower. You don't need to remove the complete assembly as such. And when I talk about maintenance, there is a great deal, when we reduce the power, there is going to be a need for outsourcing. The manufacturers who are supplying equipments right now, they have to think about how can they provide these services after sales, including AMC and maintenance. That is the change which industry has to take up. It's not going to be only supply and then forget it, up to just maintain the warranty liabilities, but it is going to be AMCs and services thereafter. When I see the requirement in future, I also see that we have to go for great deal of automation and mechanized maintenance. We, as I said earlier, diagnostic maintenance. So I will give example. Let us say a traction motor is provided with bearing temperature sensor, winding temperature sensor, which is already there, and winding resistance also. And we provide a software which can predict the failure of traction motor in advance. That will be a great help, so that line failures are reduced, maintenance requirements are reduced. If you take about transformer, which is there in TRD, traction distribution, as well as locomotive, can we provide the online dissolved gas analysis system like hydrogen content, which can give a signal before the transformer fails? Same is the case with axle boxes. Can we monitor the health of the bearings by providing sensors? Let me tell you, okay, we conducted that experiment, which was very, very successful. We provided sensors on axle boxes and collected that data. Of course, the locomotive on trial did not fail, but the data was very, very useful. And we had cases of axle box locking, axle locking online. Then when I come to the general services side, also a deal of requirement for SCADA, like controlling the power supply from remote and also attending to it. One more area where we are expecting great change and improvement is air conditioning system, whether it is in the coach or it is in the service bed. Presently in our coach, the air change which is taking place, it takes, if I want to replace the complete air in the air conditioned coach, it takes about 2 hours. Whereas in other countries, non-air conditioned coaches are not at all there. They are still running the trains in this COVID environment because their air conditioning system is able to replace the entire air within 15 to 20 minutes. So if we are able to give the air change with very high efficiency filters like HEPA filters, then we can still run the air conditioned coaches. We have made COVID coaches, you are aware of it, for the passengers for their isolation facility and medical treatment for the places where the hospitals are not well equipped. So those are presently non-air conditioned, and we are not going to run the air conditioned sources for some time because the chances of spreading the infections are more in the present system. Same is the case in service building. When I was talking about providing air conditioned facility for the hospitals, the requirement, if you go as per the ASHRAE and our Indian system, we need to provide negative pressure air conditioning system. So all these challenges are there, and we are going to change. This has to be done. The present air conditioning system is not suitable for medical services which are required in such circumstances. There are many things, but I would rather like to limit here itself. There are many areas where we can do change our systems, change the product also, and railway is going on that line, let me assure you. I would rather like to sort of answer queries if there are any. I will not take much time. Thanks once again to ASSOCHAM and especially to Dr. Agarwal. I know him not only for business, but his interest in philanthropic activities. He is doing a lot of things for the elderly people, for health and medical center. It's a great thing which you are doing for the society. Thanks once again to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Vavre. It was very interesting explanation you gave. Flexibility means the railway system can make sanitizer or PPE. I think there's a high degree of flexibility.
Yeah, our requirement of PPEs and sanitizer we are meeting in house.
Yeah, so this is,
and this was the case, when sanitizer were not available in the market.
Yeah.
So our staff, they were not ready, to work without sanitizer and that.
So if the suppliers come to your workshop, you will provide the sanitizer to them also, I believe. If
Sure. When every work area, we have provided foot pedal operated sanitizer dispenser as well as washing area. You don't need to touch it. That's provided, and that's in-house. That reminds me that there is going to be sanitizers provided in every coach. There is a demand.
Yes. I think that's
so
right.
That also is an area.
Yeah. In fact, somebody was talking that in railway coach, you will have, while we enter near the toilet, some kind of contactless sanitizer dispensing machine, and then in the coach itself also, a small contactless. Means just put your hand, the sanitizer will come. So you are, I think, in the same line.
True.
Another important thing Mr. Vavre explained, in fact, it is very important for the general public also, because nobody knows what is the good. People believe that goods train speed very low, very slow. But now you mentioned that your ultimate target is that the passenger and goods train should be of the same speed. And you
Yeah, we are
also
trying to reduce the speed differential.
yeah. And then you mentioned about the way of transportation. This quality of way of transportation means door-to-door service. And then also explained the design improvements in cab, in coach, and there is a health dimension or medical dimension everywhere, which you recommended. And you asked the industry also that we should come forward for this mechanized maintenance, preventive maintenance, full-fledged solution. I can assure you from SHM side and the other industry side that we will be at your disposal. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Now, I
Thank you.
request Mr. Ghanshyam Singh ji. I already explained. He has left behind a lot of innovations, lot of research. Still, the projects which he initiated, the things are going on, will go on, and railways will have the fruits out of that. Now I request Mr. Ghanshyam Singh ji.
Thank you, Mr. Agarwal. A very good afternoon to everybody. माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी ने अपने संबोधन में कहा था, जान भी जहान भी। जनरली लोग कहते हैं जान है तो जहान है, लेकिन हमारे विजनरी अत्यंत दूरदर्शी प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा जान भी जहान भी, मीनिंग दैट we will protect our people, we will also flourish in economy and industry. As far as railways are concerned, as Mr. Bhavre mentioned, or some other speakers also mentioned, that railway is a very resilient organization. And in the current days, we have manufactured sanitizer to PPE. At the time of Second World War, we manufactured aeroplanes, fighter craft repair as well. And I know at least one workshop in which I have worked. It is the Kachrapara workshop, in which the fighter planes were repaired, overhauled during the period of Second World War. Now, considering the size of India, we must appreciate that our government authority, our colleagues in the government have managed the corona pandemic very effectively and in a very well manner. At least I could not believe that our policemen will stand on the crossroads to guard us round the clock, but they have stood even at the cost of their own lives. Railways have played a very vital role in dealing with the corona pandemic under the great visionary leadership of our Honorable Minister for Railways, Mr. Piyush Goyal, and it came on the forefront to convert the coaches as a mobile quarantine centers or mobile hospital units. And as I know, as of now, they have converted approximately 5,000 coaches into a quarantine center cum medical hospital. This is the first reaction, but many of you are aware, and even at the cost of repetition to those who are not aware, even in this pandemic time, railways have been running round the clock to ensure the supplies, essential supplies, be it coal to the power sector, be it medicine to the hospital or any other material. Last but not the least, we have run Shramik specials to clear the stranded labor in various metro cities. Now, whether we like it or we don't like it, COVID-19 has come and it is going to remain for some time with us. And therefore, we have to assimilate or learn the life living with this COVID-19. Now, one day I was crossing after some 1 month of lockdown across the river Jamuna on Delhi. And I could notice lahar on the waters of Jamuna, meaning that the Jamuna water has become lighter, purer, cleaner. Plants are green, lush green in Delhi, which I have not seen. I am coming to Delhi since 1978. I have never seen plants so clean, clear, green in Delhi. Therefore, while COVID-19 has taught us a lesson to learn differently, it has also taught us a lesson to preserve the nature and don't play with the nature. What railway can do, and also simultaneously what industry can support. We must stop using any type of fuel which is contaminating the environment. This means it's not only the diesel to electric car, even electricity also spews tons and tons of carbon dioxide and carbon monoxide and NOx gases into the atmosphere by burning up coal. I think the future should be to go back or to go forward to use even electricity only from renewable resources. A beginning was made by converting a diesel into an electric engine. Industry must support that project so that, as deemed by Honorable Prime Minister and Honorable Railway Minister, that by 2030, Indian Railways will be operated, or rather it will meet its all energy demands from renewable resources. This requires large-scale electrification of lines, large-scale creation of power-producing solar power plants on the vacant railway lines, along the track and elsewhere in the cities which are not of any immediate use to the railways. COVID-19 has been forced upon us, maybe natural, maybe man-made, which time will only tell. However, what it is going to result in future for industries, there will be scarcity of resources, there could be scarcity of labor, there could be reduction in demand, reduction in per unit cost. For railways, there would be reduction in demand, maybe forced, maybe automatic. Also for the railways, there would be reduction in resources. Now, no traditional working, whether it is industry or whether it is railways, is going to serve the purpose. We have to repurpose ourselves both in the railways as well as in the industries to ensure जान भी जहान भी. हमें यह निश्चित करना होगा अपने कार्य के दौरान कि norms of social distancing, norms of hygiene are maintained even during the production or even during the transportation. कल्पना करिए रेलवे के एक जनरल सेकंड क्लास कोच में जहां कोविड-19 के पहले 72 की कैपेसिटी पे 300 लोग चलते थे। नाउ ये चैलेंज होगा कि उस कोच में सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग कैसे मेंटेन की जाए। सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग अगर हम मेंटेन करते हैं तो 72 की बजाय 72 की बजाय 24 पर या 20 पर रिस्ट्रिक्ट करना होगा कि इससे ज्यादा आदमी नहीं जाए। नाउ अगर हम अपनी कैरिंग कैपेसिटी को आधा या चौथाई पर लाते हैं तो वो ऑपरेशन की वायबिलिटी होगी क्या। इसी तरह से इंडस्ट्री में एक प्रोपल्शन इक्विपमेंट आप बनाते थे जिसमें एक्स अमाउंट ऑफ आपका खर्च लगता था, वाई अमाउंट मैन पावर लगती थी, वहां भी सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग हाइजीन की इश्यूज आएंगे और आप एक्स प्लस वाई जोड़ करके जेड अपना प्रॉफिट एंड टैक्सेस लगा करके उसको से ए अमाउंट पर सेल करते थे। Now, immediately after COVID-19, perhaps we have to rework out our cost of product per unit, maybe for the railways as well, that cost of transportation per unit. The way we were working traditionally is not going to serve the purpose. We have to revisit the very calculation itself, similarly the industries, and perhaps for some times to come, say for a year or so, no gain, no profit concept we must adopt so that we can together survive. If we survive, then definitely we will flourish. But this time, while our medical fraternity, our police fraternity, Safai Wala fraternity is fighting with COVID-19 tirelessly, relentlessly to protect us, we have to support the whole society by reworking, redesigning our work in a manner that it becomes cost effective, it becomes sustainable, and users' capacity comes within the user's capacity. Perhaps railway has to change its thinking of calculating or assessing its performance on the basis of operating ratio. Maybe that we may have to consider, I propose, consider that we will meet the first social norms, social needs, social distancing, hygiene conditions, and then we will look for if there is any profit or operating ratio concept is there. Maybe our stations have to be reoriented in the lines of airport security checks, and the word security checks may have to be replaced by a word medical checkups. On the railway platform, only those persons will be allowed to enter who have the valid ticket and medically fit, duly checked before entering the platform, so that a bit compromise between social distancing and medical requirement is made in the coaches. And perhaps in the coaches, whatsoever we do, even per coach, the solution would be only one person per coach, but that may not be viable. If we are increasing the number of person per coach, perhaps their medical fitness is a pre-conclusion requirement. we have seen a lot of ups and downs in the past as well. This kind of epidemic, pandemics have got a frequency of 100 years. If we go back in the history, this is 2020. Before that, there was a pandemic, 1920. Before that, there was 1820, and before that, 1720. And every time we have survived the pandemic. आचार्य चाणक्य ने कहा था, यदि मेरे ज्ञान में शक्ति है तो राज्य और राजा दोनों का निर्माण कर दूंगा। मैं इस महामारी के संबंध में कहना चाहता हूं कि हम में शक्ति है, हम में ज्ञान है, हम में विजडम है, और हम पोस्ट कोविड-19 एक और भी बेहतर समाज का निर्माण करने में सफल होंगे। जैसा मैंने बताया, पोस्ट कोविड-19 रेलवे स्टेशन को मॉडिफाई करना होगा, अपने वर्क प्लेसेस को मॉडिफाई करना होगा। कल ही मुझे खबर मिली कि रेलवे बोर्ड पर एक ऐसा इक्विपमेंट लगाया जा रहा है एंट्री गेट पे कि रेलवे बोर्ड के अंदर घुसने वाले हर व्यक्ति का, चाहे वो 200 की भीड़ एक साथ घुस रही हो, उसमें हर व्यक्ति का वो टेम्परेचर स्कैन कर लेगा। Now, if we connect this temperature scanning machine or equipment with the artificial intelligence and provide such kind of equipments at our every places where there is a possibility of large number of people coming, then the analysis of the very temperature of, and it is scanning with the face of the person, and use of IT tools and artificial intelligence, we can scan and we can filter out the person likely to get infected by COVID-19 or any other infection. So this type of innovative approach may be perhaps required. In the train, Mr. Vaure was suggesting that for some time we would not be running air-conditioned services. It is my personal opinion, and somehow or other I have always believed that best safety is the no service. It's our duty, our ingenuity, our intelligentsia, our knowledge that how to adopt and maintain the services, maintain the production, while ensuring the safety, security, health, hygiene of its users. Now, 1 hour or 2 hour change of air conditioning system. There was a talk in railway boards and Baroda House, Northern Railway headquarters. They are running the air conditioners, are not running the air conditioners, running the air conditioners at a temperature of 30 degrees Celsius. Now at 30 degrees Celsius in Delhi, in Baroda House or in Rail Bhavan, running air conditioner has got no meaning. We have to reduce the temperature so that person can work there. Now the railway board system, as I know, is a system where the air is not circulated out of the room. It is the refrigerant which is circulated from compressor to the evaporator, and therefore there is no exchange of room air. If the room air is not circulating, I am at loss to understand as to how it will lead to transfer of infection. Because whatever is there, whether the room is infected or not infected, the air remains in this. And also I am told that COVID-19 is not transferring through air, but it is transferring through human touch or through cough, sneezing, etc. So as an engineer, we have to re-engineer ourselves to maintain the services. अग्रवाल साहब आप मॉडरेट कर रहे हो, अगर टाइम ज्यादा हो रहा हो तो बता देना. Services has to be maintained at all times, safely, securely. And this has been the motto of Indian Railways, come what may, wheels must keep moving. Perhaps since the history of the railways, it was born in India, this is the first time when the services has been stopped. I propose to the people, my colleague, my friends, that think of resuming the services as early as possible. The news like people traveling 3,000 kilometers by foot, 16 workers getting run over by train in an attempt to go home by foot or whatever the reason. It pains me. Why can't we as a transporter organize movement of the people in a safe manner? I propose to my friends that think of, don't run the everyday whole population of Australia, but at least bare minimum transportation needs must be met with. The future post COVID-19 pandemic, society is also going to change. No one, unless it is a bare necessity, will venture out to go to travel in a train or in a bus. Sheer out of the fear will restrict him, will force him to stay away from these things. Plus some checks and balances in trains, at stations, should be possible to introduce. As far as industry is concerned, industry should encourage maximum people working from home. Now for 2 months, I see there are 2 guys in my house itself who are working from home. I asked them, is there any impact on your output or in the output of the company? They say that absolutely no. This type of change is not only going to reduce the risk, but is also going to reduce the load on public transportation system. In future, as my friend Bhavre suggested, that there will be many innovative suggestions, requirements on the railways. To that, industry must adopt, must lend their supporting hands. But I find 2 things, you can say that are 3 things which did started a couple of years back. 1, conversion of diesel engines into electric engines. 2, electrification. 3, solar power plant on the railway land along the track and vacant railway land parcels. These 3-4 things are going to come in a big way. Perhaps for the first time in the world, the concept of injecting solar power into railway traction lines was experimented at New Delhi station, and the pilot project is coming up. By now it would have been commissioned at Veena in the West Central Railway by BHEL, but for the COVID-19 lockdown, because last moment testing, checking work is left. This is going to open up a large canvas to the industry to pick up all items or some items which is in their range of manufacture. For example, this solar power plant uses a transformer, uses a solar panel, uses a circuit breaker, uses an inverter. Then cable and wires, etc. are always there. Now the industry, whosoever is there, so far it is only BHEL. But there are many industries who can manufacture. This is not going to be a traction gate component, because at one place one transformer conks off, it hardly makes any difference. Other will support. So these are the some future areas where industry can come up. But only my submission and request is that for some time, at least re-engineer your profit margin, your working cost, so that the cost per unit should come down. At the same time, I would propose to the government to support the works, infrastructure building, so that fluidity in the market remains reasonable and industries get support. Because if there is no fluidity, no cash, maybe that key one by one, first weaker industry, then more stronger, then more stronger. They will slow down, then come down, and followed by the government systems as well. Now with this, I conclude here, and if any question, anything, I am available.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Very enlightening ideas. You mentioned something which we never know, like a fighter plane was repaired in Second World War in Kachrapar. I think
That
big
is
history.
a historical fact.
Yes. And also that this problem of virus or pandemic was in 1920, then 1820, then 1720.
Not exactly this virus, some other virus was there.
Other virus, but of dangerous
But the
nature.
frequency is 100 years.
Yeah. And secondly, effectively you have explained that we have to be revisiting our working in operations, and we have to be sustainable, cost effective, not only railway but also industry, environment friendly. You mentioned about the river and plants. In the concluding remarks, I will talk about this subject also. And thank you very much again. Now I request the chief guest and key speaker, Sri Arunendra Kumarji. As I mentioned, he is the author of the big numbers which we are working on today. Sir.
Thank you, and very good afternoon to all the viewers. Dr. Agarwal, Mr. Ghanshyam Singh, Mr. Bhavre, and Mr. Manoj and Mr. Riyas Rajora. I've had the pleasure of working with Mr. Ghanshyam Singh quite some time, and Mr. Bavre I have known, but I have not worked with him. So also with Mr. Manoj and Mr. Rajora, leading ASSOCHAM. And Dr. Agarwal, of course, is known to almost so many railwaymen. I also know him. And I have had the opportunity of reading one of his books, which compiled the speeches of the Honorable Prime Minister of his first tenure. And if any webinar of these type is of any indicator, I think Corona and webinar railway will be shortly listed as his production publication effort. I wish him all the best. Now, coming to this topic, you have heard a great amount of ideas concerning railways and impact on railways from Mr. Manoj, Mr. Bavre, and Mr. Ghanshyam Singh. But let us first understand what exactly is troubling us. Why are we so scared? The reason is that the problem of social distancing is what is the main issue. And social distancing, everybody is saying that if you travel 72 in a coach, you make it to 40 and not to 500 or things of that sort. And that social distancing is killing everything. It is killing economy, and people are made to stay inside home. And the nature of virus is such that this is easily taken as a way to protect from the virus. Now, this is going to remain, as now we have been told, and you've also been hearing, that we have to live with this virus. And we have to live with this virus. We have to live with so many viruses that are currently being on in the country. And that be so, then our lifestyle should be such till a new vaccine comes up, which protects us from this kind of thing. And till that does not happen, this kind of social distancing will take various forms. So one has to understand this and protect oneself. The casualty in the whole regard is the industry called as EBITDA. We call the rising cost. The expenditure is fixed, but we can do nothing about it. Can't reduce the manpower overnight. It is anti-progress and things of that sort. But what can happen is that our experience the last 46 days is that the demand has completely evaporated, especially in various sectors, because of the restrictions we have imposed on movement of people, which leading to demand being absolutely evaporation. And that has to be restored back if industry has to function. And how do we do it? Because when we reopen, the exit mode is very phased way. This is a big challenge. And then if you reopen, then who is going to buy the product? Because the people, bulk of it, that their savings have already dried up. So that's a question mark which comes, and we now hear that the fiscal deficit is already touching 5.5% of GDP, which was targeted to be about 3%. And if that be so, then what do you do? So there's no ready answer, but the government will need to pump money when the industry is so much concerned. Sorry. Just put off the phone.
Sir,
so the question arises that when the railway reopens, will the railway buy your products or not? Because the railway say where is the demand for passenger to move, come on the train, and already we are restricting people to come to the stations, come to the trains. We are restricting the number of trains. Why should I manufacture locomotives, or why should I manufacture coaches, or things of that sort? That's a very big thing, and the only way is that we got to produce. We have to create, the supply has to create a demand later on. It may not be today, it may be later, 6 months later or 1 year later. But the government being the only expenditure person in the transport sector, especially with the railways, the railway factory must produce at least to the target, which means they must at least buy with, of course, 1.5 months or 2 months of drought, at least the same levels of buying, if not more than what they have done. Otherwise, industry is not going to be there. They'll all start contracting, and once the contraction happens, then it's very difficult for industry to reinvest, to bring in more people and things of that sort. So the government will have to think that the railway has to be supported, and it has to be supported in all sectors. So let me come to the various sectors. Let's say S&T, signaling department. We have 1.13 lakh crore, 13.3 lakh crore of NIP, National Infrastructure Pipeline investment for the railways in next so many years, and 10 years also for the program. And that thing has to happen. The signaling ETCS, you already opened the bids. Now you say, sorry, we'll not have ETCS. Then what's this? It's not going to happen that way. Similarly, the cabling part or other kinds of equipment that the industry is manufacturing, and railway, the industry has invested because railways wanted it. Now just railways cannot afford to withdraw. It just cannot. And if they do, then it sends a very wrong signal. So somebody has to cut the Gordian knot and say, okay, government will invest. You please produce the way you have been producing. Of course, you have to reduce your costs. That's very important to the extent you can, but the product cannot be compromised. Coming to civil engineering, you see, tracks have to be maintained. There's a big expenditure being planned for track machines. The big expenditure for rail renewal, rail production. Now, if you tell the SAIL or any other company, sorry, no more rails, we are not going to change rails, it's just not possible. So there has to be investment in this kind of infrastructure. Come to electrification. What Mr. Ghanshyam Singh mentioned, of course, everyone gives him that credit, and it's due to him that electrification must proceed. You just can't say, sorry, I will not electrify anymore. That dream of completing the electrification in so many years, maybe 6 months more or a year more, but that has to finish. So that money must come. Returns of the investment will come later on. So that kind of risk the government there's a need to take that. Electric locomotives must be manufactured. Chittaranjan, at one time they were not able to make 120. Now they are touching 430 locomotives. 430 on a better variety. So this capability exists, provided that we have the support, and we continue to get the support, which only is possible if you invest in them. Coming to coaches factories, same thing. You have manufactured now how many? 8,000 coaches. Now tomorrow you say, sorry, we'll make 4,000 coaches. There's a sudden collapse. It's very difficult then to revive the industry, to bring back, and there'll be so much of cutthroat competition that the industry will cut itself. So these targets must be honored, and there's a bitter pill which the government need to swallow. I suppose they are working on that lines. Similarly, metro projects, which Mr. Manoj was talking. Metro projects, you have a vision for metro movement. You can talk of metro, you talk of metro light for tier 2 cities, but metros are now becoming the lifeline of the city movement, transport movement. Now tomorrow, if you say NCRTC will not make Delhi Meerut, it's just not possible. Or road sector, you say will not make these road highways. So this kind of investments will certainly have to happen, because so much of it has been outsourced. So much depend on the private sector, so much depend on the industries that they got to be supported by this kind of fiscal push and stimulus. You give it any name, the expenditure must happen. And once expenditure happens, by the time people will start moving out, and there will be relaxation of norms. Of course, it needs a lot of discipline on the part of the citizens of India to honor the social distancing norm to the extent possible. Maybe there will be a big boost in the car segment, because people like to move because of social distancing in their own cars rather than take to railways or to aircraft. But for long distance, it's not so easy. But yes, up to 500 or even to Delhi, Prayagraj, one will try and manage a car movement rather than going by train. Same time, same distance with better cars now. So DFT, we will not move trains on the dedicated freight corridor. Once you move trains there, and there is no problem of social distancing there. So all these projects which are already, let's say, are on the path of being maturing, or new kind of technology being put into the system, or what Mr. Ghanshyam was talking about, the solar renewables sector, They cannot be allowed to just evaporate. They got to retain their sanctity. But yes, I must have few suggestions for the industry as well, because they must interact with the railways and get some norms changed. First is that today I find that a lot of industries have not received payments. And why they have not received payments? Because they could not submit bills, and the railway says, my dear friend, come with the physical copy of the bill. And physical copy of the bill cannot be given because no courier service available. Nothing is there to take the people who was making bills at those days, like in a factory, they've all evaporated. Nothing is working. Now, everybody in the country accepts bills on the internet, on the e-platform, on digitized platform. But why our railways are not so serious about it? So this is one area which we must sincerely argue and make the railways accept that whatever you want to do, but please accept digitized form with whatever guarantees in the system. Second, you need to modify IRS conditions of contract as also GCC to incorporate these kinds of disasters into the system. Because when the disaster happens, then you say, I'll modify it, then there's nobody available to, because everybody is so scared that if I change now, it may help A, it may help B, it may help C. So there has to be incorporation of a separate chapter when disasters strike, which can be a flood, which can be epidemic of this sort, or anything for that, famine for that matter, or even a war, that how do you handle a contractual scenario when there is a disaster looming in front of us, and you declare it, like for railways, if there is a flood relief and the state government declares that it is flood, then movement of commodities on railways is free if it is sent to the flood relief officer. It's a very clearly annotated system. You don't have to think twice about it. Why don't we have same thing in this contractual system, that if anything happens, then payments will be released subject to this, or not subject to this. This should be incorporated because it gives a lot of relief to the officers. They feel that if I do something now, I'll be questioned later. And this questioning is too much, because later on people forget how difficult was COVID-19. 10 years later, we will not know what was COVID-19. But if there is a scar on somebody, officer, his whole life is spoiled. This is not permitted. And the inspiration we should draw is from the Marora and Madhupura contracts. They have been approved by the cabinet. There's a lot of provisioning for timely payments and also quality assurances by the vendor. Both have to go hand in hand. These two, IRS and GCC, must find some kind of transporting of content, of intent from those two contracts which have been approved by the cabinet, so that the industry feels peace. They will know that if they don't get the money as per the schedule of 15 days, then there is a penalty on the railways. And if the railways do not get benefit from the industry of rectification within so many days, then railways will levy a penalty on them. And it's very clear cut and mutually agreed beforehand. Later on, nothing is possible. So these things must happen. And I suppose in these difficult times, no industry will be thinking of any new investment. That's a sad thing to happen, but that is a grim reality. That no new technology may come except what I mentioned, that bringing Chinese factories to India. But what I do imagine is that this Chinese lacuna or complete evaporation of Chinese support, I have had occasion to have some kind of inquiries from lots of European companies who want, because the European business has also gone down, and they are looking for those growth areas where they can invest. And a lot of European companies want to invest in the railway sector where the check has never bounced. That's the beauty of the whole thing. Where nowhere in the world has it happened that a 10-year contract is given in advance. No country has given a contract. Sorry? So this kind of thing, we must tap into foreign companies, bring in technology. Nothing which is old should be accepted. Anything new, and like what you talked of artificial intelligence, or all those kinds of things which are coming up in various sectors as support mechanisms, must feature in a new interaction. Any industry, whether it is pharma industry, medical industry, or road laying, road repair, or anything, treatment of patients, that is all important. And finally, with all the experience of what you are talking of, manufacture of or repairs of aircraft in Kachirapara, every industry today with whatever we see, must develop an in-house capability of manufacturing PPE, sanitizer, mask, and ventilator to some extent. Ventilator is slightly difficult, but others are not difficult. They must have a ready-made convergent situation available that if the need arises, and now the need will arise because people are so scared that if they have to travel, they may say, okay, I'll carry a mask. And mask is one use item. It is not even like a handkerchief. You just throw it away. So you must have a in-house system of developing this, keeping it alive, because and just it's like the toggle switch on and off. Okay, so many masks, so many this. Because everybody now, like say tomorrow, a local pilot will say, sir, I'm going in a difficult area, I like to have a dress, and you just can't say sorry. But if one driver have a COVID, and then the whole fraternity feels that they are scared. They stay in a running room, they stay, eat together. There's no way out. That's what they do. So we must think of that. And at the end of the thing, that Make in India should get a boost from all the things that we do. We must keep in mind that whatever we do, whatever we invest, we should take this opportunity to bring in new technology, to make the government realize that investment from the government is the first requirement for reviving the economy, and the industry will be there to give the way they want. And one more thing for the industry. Now we have seen the labor migration. This is too pathetic. People getting killed, as what Mr. Ghanshyam Singh mentioned, and people not being available to restart the industry. And now people are moving to Bihar, Jharkhand, and all those places, and there will be reverse flow. Now railway will be told that you run passengers separately for the reverse Shramik special. That's happening for Gurgaon now. The people want to come back from Telangana to Gurgaon and that area. So they must find a way to develop some kind of labor retention systems, either developing a separate fund for their food or something, some kind of percentage of their salary being deposited so that they don't have to look here and there. Where is the money, run in loss and all those things. So that's about it. And thank you, Ghanshyam, for listening. And thank you all the viewers. And we like to take questions. Panelists are ready for you. Thank you, Mr. Bhatt.
Thank you, sir, very much, and enlightening, thoughtful ideas. You mentioned about investment. Of course, investment necessary for survival of industrialization. And as ASSOCHAM, we will impress upon the government. We will put up a case to the government that investment should not be degraded, because investment is the key. In fact, if we have to invite the Chinese companies to India, they have to see that the demand is going up. Otherwise, why they will come? So investment is necessary. The infrastructural investment, and railways has always been on the forefront for industrialization and ancillarization. Railways has been the key also for technology development. So I think they understand well, and to my mind, the investment will not come down. And thank you very much. And now I invite the audience, the participants, if they have any question, the floor is open. Any question, please? From anyone? कैसे हाथ उठाते कैसे करते हैं? रोहित भाटिया जी, आप जरा करो कैसे करते हैं इसको?
Sure, sir. Sir, what I suggest is we have a lot of questions. Keeping the time limit in mind, we are already at 1 p.m. So what we can do is we take up this question, and somebody from Rajora sir will take up from you and send it across to all participants the question. If that okay? Because I can see 12 to 12 question, and we have already at 1 p.m. So I suggest we can do that way, and we can wind up. Rajora sir, your input, please.
Maybe
Rohit,
we can.
no, you can read it out. Because I'm not able to see what questions and all are there, so it is in front of you. Please read it out,
Okay.
and then panelists can quickly answer that, and we can finish in next 10 minutes. There is no issue.
Sure, I just do that.
Yeah.
There's one question. What are the policy changes required to bring in investment in India? There's a one question by Mr. Harshit Kapadia. Any panelist would like to take up this question?
That's a very big question. Policy change. You have to be very specific. Which area? Because the policy changes is a very diverse area. I can talk about railways. If we talk policy change, I mentioned that we need to change our conditions of contract, and the Make in India, the people must appreciate. These are very big policy changes, and of course, land availability the government will have to certify. Otherwise, nobody is going to come. Market, one has to develop one on his own. And technology has to be one which we don't have. We don't want any new person just to compete with what we already are producing. So these are some things which we'll look forward to. And if they bring in investment, why should they not be welcome? They shall be.
Okay, thank you, sir. So another question is, it's about the tenders which we have been rolled out by the various authorities of railway. How it will impact upcoming tenders and how they will be awarded to the parties. So I think this Mr. Varvade can answer this. How did it impact the upcoming tenders being rolled out by the railways, and how they in the coming time, the COVID-19 time, this can be awarded to the vendors?
See, again, it's a very big subject. Let me tell you, our focus has been clear, and the infrastructure development projects are not going to be kept on hold. The only change which we are going to bring in is, where the clear site is available. Okay, like I will give you example. We have to prioritize what I'm trying to say. There are a large number of projects are going on in, let us doubling, okay, new lines. So the investment will be diverted only to the area where the land is clearly available, as our former chairman also has said, Ranendra Kumar sir has said, that we are going to give priority instead of diverting funds and working at multiple sites, at multiple areas. We are going to prioritize, and it will be very focused. The priority will be given to only those projects where returns will be immediately available. Okay, and as I said, to change the system of working, the projects like atomization of goods shed, changing the working of goods sheds, the handling of cargoes, that is going to change. So projects are not on hold. All the tenders will be rolled out as planned. Like again, production units have been given the production plan, and they are going ahead. There can be a setback of this lockdown period, that the production which is getting affected in this lockdown period, that they may have to make good in the forthcoming months. Okay, so
Okay.
that's going to change. That is the only change which is going to take place. The
Sir, another question
tenders
to you.
finalization is online in railways. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sir, another question would be, again, it's relevant
what I
to
said,
you.
we already have a system of tender management and materials management. As Arunendra Kumar sir has been saying, that we have been passing bills online. In works contract, except the final bill, all other bills are being worked online and being passed, processed. Same is the case with the stores. So we have made a change. We are bringing in e-office, so that there is no need to actually handle the papers, in hard copy or something like that. Yeah, next please.
Okay. Again, this question would be from, again, you can answer in better way. Because of this COVID-19, will there be any impact on the railway budget? Because there are a lot of, this is question from one of the partner of vendor or contractual or contractor of railway. So he want to know whether there is going to be change in the railway budget because of the COVID-19.
I just
Certainly.
give the answer. I can give you the
Everybody
answer.
can expect that.
The budget.
Let me just make one point.
Yeah.
we have different heads of expenditure. Our income is definitely affected, business is affected. So we are going to, try to reduce our expenditure, revenue expenditure, maintenance expenditure, on which all other speakers also have spoken how we are going to change. But as regards to our projects, which are again, the expenditure is made through capital or borrowing the funds and all that, those are going to remain. But priority will be given.
Okay. Dr. Agarwal, you want to add something on this?
Yeah, now you can go.
I just wanted to say that the budget has not been discussed so far, and nobody has said so far that the budget will be reduced or increased. I think government is aware that if they decrease the budget or investment, further unemployment trouble will be there, a problem will be in the industry, supply chain will be affected. As far as I know, the same production plan is there, which was already. So I don't think there's any change. I think we have to be optimistic, and we have to believe in the government, we have to believe in the system, we have to believe in the ministry. We are part of the ministry, let's say, in the industry. Yes, everything will be okay, to my mind. So I think
As I
that-
said, there is no
Yeah.
change in the capital expenditure and infrastructure projects.
I
Okay.
think now the time is over. If you allow, I can conclude.
Sir, the
Rajulaji?
last question I want to take up, this is the last question. I would request you to allow me to take this question. This is basically from the equipment manufacturing company, which says, what are the activity and how railway is planning to outsource, specifically in the case of locomotive maintenance and passenger coach maintenance? So basically, they want to know how railway is planning to outsource in the maintenance of locomotive coaches and their maintenance, passenger coaches maintenance.
Okay, I'll take the question and give you a small answer with permission of Mr. Ghanshyam Singh. If you manufacture a locomotive, you will maintain. If I manufacture, I will maintain. As simple as that. So GE and Alstom are manufacturing from Adipura and Morera, they are going to maintain it. Chitranjan is manufacturing, or DLW will manufacture electric locos in future, railway will maintain, because they already have the assets for that. Now when you have anything new coming up, perhaps there will be no such investment for maintenance for those new designs. But for existing designs, whatever the existing systems are, they will continue. Outsourcing will be to the extent that a lot of the core activities, which are non-core activities, for like cleaning, even painting and things of that sort, will get outsourced, which will be a low level activity, not a very high level of, and depend on the shed to shed.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Agarwal, you can take forward now.
Okay, thank you. It was an interesting session. I just take a cue from Mr. Ghanshyam Singh that the plants are okay, plants are now greening, and the water is becoming more clear. Let me tell you, if you allow me to speak, man has always been in a perennial conflict with nature, ever since humanity came into being. And the mighty mammal, that is human being, proclivity of tinkering with nature has not caught a breath ever since. But time and again, nature integrally has shown that it enjoys the upper hand and has proved to be a great leveler or equalizer whenever man harbored an illusion that it has scored a victory over it. No way. Nature has always showed man his place in its scheme of things. God is truth. Truth is God. Everything else is secondary. So we have to respect the nature. Mr. Ghanshyam Singh has explained very well, and very enlightening from Mr. Arunendra Kumarji. He mentioned 2-3 things: investment, our own way of working, and if we have to bring this, or let's say fructify the dream of bringing the companies from China to India, then we have to keep the pace of investment. I think government must be aware of this. Prime Minister Modi's team, Jahan Bhi, this has been appreciated by the world leaders. WHO Director General, he also appreciated very much. Other leaders, including Mr. Putin, Honorable Putin from Russia, he mentioned that this is the correct philosophy. And then Mr. Vavre explained very well that if we have to achieve this $3 trillion economy, we have to be resilient, we have to be flexible, we have to change the way of transportation, we have to think about the innovation, we have to embed the technology everywhere. Technology should be visible. Innovation should be visible. Innovation I can touch. Innovation should be such that I can touch the innovation. So with these remarks, Mr. Manoj, I tell you that because you have company in China, this is your responsibility to show first the example of uprooting that company and bring it in India. If not in full, maybe portion of that. And thank you very much. And all the audience who are here, who have been registered, who have not been registered, I give them a very good vote of thanks and welcome them again. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Rajoraji.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, all. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you for. Thanks, sir.
ठीक